The Intergalactic Banking Clan, one of the most profitable organizations in the galaxy, as well as this one of the main enablers for the Clone Wars. But what is the Banking Clan? The Banking Clan is as old as the Galactic Republic itself. This was founded in around 25,000 BBY, in a time when new governments were being founded in the name of the Republic all around the galaxy. Mass amounts of currency would be needed to fund the Republic's exploits. It was in this time that the wealthy banking families came together to create the Intergalactic Banking Clan, an organization that would manage particularly the Republic's but also anyone else who could afford its financial affairs. This ranged from investing it to ensuring its security through transactions. By 1000 BBY, the Banking Clan had become a force to be reckoned with. It had a great reputation for being far more reliable than the core world banks. It had ties with nearly all major commercial guilds, as well as all major governments, primarily the Republic, who relied on it heavily for funding and investing its money. The Banking Clan was a mix of financiers, lawyers, and accountants. For this reason, those who held credits in these banks could rest assured that their assets were well protected. As well as this, the Banking Clan had a sizable personal military. The Banking Clan itself is ruled by a chairman. This person rules amongst 5 representatives from the old families to ensure that the bank works at maximum effectiveness. Now, the biggest factor that led to the long life of the Banking Clan is probably one of its most interesting features: its neutrality. In no conflict has the Banking Clan refused to fund certain sides if they saw a worthy investment that they could make credits from. They were able to do this as their deep ties with all major powers in the galaxy made them indispensable. Of course, getting rid of your enemy's funding is a great thing, but not when it also wipes out your own funding. So for that reason, you pretty much couldn't tangle with the Banking Clan without damaging yourself as well, which is quite an ingenious method. In fact, if it wasn't for the Banking Clan, the Clone Wars may not have ever even happened. It was the Banking Clan that provided Darth Sidious with the funds to create the Grand Army of the Republic on Kamino, as well as providing weapons for both sides, which would eventually lead to the Separatists' movement and therefore the Clone Wars. Fun fact, the leader of the Banking Clan during the Clone Wars was a Mune named San Hill, who was trained by Chancellor Palpatine, or Darth Sidious, who prepared him for his ascension to chairman of the Banking Clan. Of course, this didn't save him when Sidious sent Vader to deal with the Separatist leaders. More about that though. During the Separatist crisis, which is when the well-funded organizations chose to leave the Republic, this is between the invasion of Naboo and the actual start of the Clone Wars, many began to speculate that the Banking Clan had allied themselves with the CIS. One reason for this was when a shipment of Banking Clan's Hailfire droids were being sent to assist Separatist forces, but were discovered by the Republic. Now, obviously, the Banking Clan claimed that the droids were stolen and that they had nothing to do with it. They weren't stolen. As well as this, it's kind of obvious, but the Banking Clan profited very heavily from the Separatist movement, with many newly independent systems looking to the clan for loans, which obviously meant more profit. As well as this, during the Separatist crisis, which we know to have been orchestrated by Palpatine, the Chancellor chose to open several secret accounts which he put entire planetary funds into to be used at a later date. I wonder what for. Which the Banking Clan and its associates would reap the profit from, and in return the Banking Clan would blindly support the Chancellor in the Senate, which they do have a seat in. Similar to the way the Trade Federation also has a place in the Senate, it's because these big organizations are so important to the Republic, they've kind of wormed their way into politics as well. Now down to the Clone Wars itself. Now, the films can be rather misleading as they often portray the Banking Clan as being a strong separatist force. Although this isn't completely false, they weren't officially separatists, similarly to their friends in the Trade Federation, but to a bit more of an extreme. Now remember what I said earlier, The banking clan's neutrality allows them to succeed greatly in a war. So during the war, the IGBC, or Intergalactic Banking Clan, dedicated its military forces to the separatists, such as Hailfire droids. As well as this, the IG Lancing droids, which they acquired from a manufacturing company that couldn't pay back its loans. They also gave all the company's plans and schematics to the CIS. Now you've got to admit, they sound a lot like separatist sympathizers. However, the banking clan argued that they were still neutral, and that if they choose to invest in the CIS, that was within their rights. As well as this, they invested heavily in the Republic and used fear of separatist victory to call for the production of more clones. This gave Palpatine a larger army to use for later. I wonder what for, Order 66. As well as this, bigger loans were taken out by the Republic, which means more profit for the banking clan. So although the banking clan was kind of a separatist group, they remained somewhat neutral, or as San Hill said, "The Intergalactic Banking Clan will support you wholeheartedly, Count Dooku, but only in a non-exclusive arrangement." This basically means that the banking clan will support the CIS with troops and other support, but will not refuse to fund the Republic either, which was of course all part of Palpatine's cluster of a plan. Now, I know what you're thinking. Obviously, the Republic must have known that they were funding them, and they did, but the Republic kind of had to tolerate the banking clan throughout the Clone Wars, as they were indispensable. And if they were to leave the Republic, it would mean a catastrophe, as the Republic would probably go bankrupt very quickly. It's sort of the banking clan's trump card. We control your money, so you can't do anything about it. Now, during the Clone Wars, the Mune's homeworld of Munist was invaded by the Republic forces, and the banking clan was forced to relocate to the planet Scipio as its main homeworld, if you will. Now, on Scipio, I won't ruin it for you because there's like 3 pretty good episodes of Star Wars The Clone Wars on this, but ultimately the banks were put under the power of Chancellor Palpatine. I wonder who decided to orchestrate this move. It was Chancellor Palpatine, which he would then use upon his ascension to Emperor, essentially by imperializing the banking clan, which at this point was primarily run by Munes. Now, as a closing point, when the Galactic Empire was founded under Palpatine, the banking clan chose to adapt. It served its new emperor under strict surveillance. However, it became less popular due to the Imperial's preference to use human-controlled banks over the primarily Mune ones. However, unlike the remnants of the Trade Federation, the banking clan chose not to invest in the Rebel Alliance. For both self-preservation, as they probably would have been wiped out by Imperial forces, but as well as this, they believed that if it came to it when the rebels were an actual significant threat, they would be able to fund both the rebels and the Empire. Typical. So that's relatively it for the banking clan in terms of the organisation. Of course, they did have some other fun things that they did during the war. I do hope that you enjoyed this. I hope it enlightened you a bit about some of the banking and currency and credit sort of things in the Star Wars universe, because it's kind of a subject that's very rarely kind of talked about. If you did enjoy this episode, please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I do hope that you did enjoy it. I'm planning on bringing out an episode on the Dark Jedi, because I know there was someone in the last video who really wanted one, and I'm going to do that eventually. I do hope that you enjoyed. Please do like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.